Welcome to the State of the Buccaneers podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Pfefferkorn, and this is the biggest and only fan run podcast of the East Tennessee State Buccaneers. We'll get right back to you after the tune. Welcome back. Tonight we have a very special episode of the State of the Buccaneers podcast. Um, Tonight I welcome one of my fellow Buccaneer fans. He's been a member of the Buck Faithful for years, part of ETSU Twitter. And without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to my friend, Casey Wilkins. So go ahead and introduce yourself, Casey.
Hey, Jacob. Thanks for having me on here. I'm Casey, big Buck fan. Been following the Bucks since 2015, I think. My first Bucks game was in Freedom Hall when they just moved back to Freedom Hall. They played Chat, but they lost. It was when we had Forbes still. That was his first season, I think. And I went with my family and my cousins. Shout out to them. I am from this area. I'm from Elizabethton. Live in Elizabethton. Lived there my whole life. What made me a Buccaneer fan? My family. My mom went to ETSU. She was there when Jennings and Talford and all those guys played for ETSU basketball. My dad was a big Bucks fan. He went to games. He didn't go to ETSU though. He went to Northeast State, but he went to some Bucks games back when they played in the Mini Dome. And favorite ETSU moments. That whole 1920 season, I followed that team. I loved that team, man. That team was so special. I've only been to two away games, SoCon games, and they were both in that season. I went to the Western Carolina game in Cullowhee and the VMI game in Lexington. Those were good games. Also the Kennesaw State football playoff game. That was a great freaking game. That was an awesome game. And while I'm on the podcast,
why are you coming on to the podcast?
Yeah, just you're my good buddy and good friend of the Bucks fans, and can't wait to talk Bucks, man. Excited.
Yeah. I know. Just like you covered everything I was going to ask you in the intro. Your intro there. Just like it's been crazy. That you mentioned that Chattanooga game, Forbes' first year. I remember that was like probably the biggest amount of people I'd seen at a Bucks basketball game.
Wow.
Because when I was younger, I mean, a lot of people came to the games, but like the region wasn't behind the team as much, especially in that time with ETSU's athletic department going down.
Yeah, they're kind of going down. See, I grew up a UT fan, actually. My whole childhood, my family was UT fans, too, all the way. But ETSU wasn't really talked about as much. Like, they talked about the glory days and Talford and Jennings and all those guys, but I think Forbes really injected energy back into the Buck Faithful and getting behind the Bucks and stuff. So.
And I know that's sort of similar to my friend Matt that was on the podcast a couple weeks ago. He grew up a UT fan because that's what was there, especially with football, because he's a football-minded guy. I think his family are football, A lot of people around here aren't as big on basketball, but they're big football people. I know there's a few people. I know ETSU fans, we're huge on basketball, but some other, a lot, especially since we're in the South, that's just sort of how it's happened. And I think you can relate to that a lot.
Yeah.
And your favorite ETSU moments, just like that Kennesaw State game. We keep coming back around to that.
That's so special.
And,
That was awesome.
I
I
think.
here you go ahead. You go
Okay, I
ahead.
was gonna say just like
You said.
storming the field, like that's just a
Mhm.
special season, and we need. Uh, it's been kind of a rough couple years after that, but just
Mhm.
like just like having those moments, that's what we got to tell our kids about. Whenever we have kids 10, 15 years down the line, that we were there at that game for the
For
next
sure.
generation of Buck fans.
Mhm. For sure.
That's
Uh,
sort of how.
before I got on here, I was watching a replay of that Mercer game too,
Mhm.
the same season when we won the
Yes,
conference. Man, that place is rocking, man.
I know. I remember that game too because that was like a week after I had had a surgery, so
Mhm.
I wasn't in the best. I was still recovering from that. Still wanted to be there because the Bucks were. It was for the SoCon title,
Mhm.
and I didn't know if or when we would get to see that again.
Yep,
So
for sure.
I have to be there in the stadium.
Mhm.
Same way with that 2020 team. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
the I had to be as many games as
As many games as
possible.
it could. Yep,
Yeah,
for sure.
and I know you mentioned you'd been at only a couple away games. I think I've been
Mhm.
maybe one away game.
One.
This not counting Nashville. I've been
Yeah. Yeah.
to
Not
that
counting
midseason
Nashville.
tournament and
Yeah.
SoCon tournament. But
Mhm.
I went to App State, Desmond Oliver's first year.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right.
Yeah,
I went to
yeah.
that one
I went
too.
to.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
I may go down. I don't know if I will or not to the return trip. Is it
Mhm.
December? We'll
I
get into
think it is.
basketball later, but
Yeah. I think it is December, but
yeah. Um, but I think that about covers the intro. Just sort of
intro.
introducing yourself. If you have anything else you
Okay.
want to say, you can. Um,
No.
just about your connection to ETSU or
Yeah.
uh,
Uh, other than that, not nothing really. That's about it.
well, uh, after that, I just wanted to sort of transition into the this year's football team in our last couple weeks. It's been kind of a rough season so far. I know we've gone back and forth on Twitter about it, just sort of everything that's been going on in the program. But
Mhm.
uh, I didn't talk about the Mercer homecoming game um, this last week because
Last
obviously
week,
with Coach Savage being on here, um, I didn't get as much
basketball mode.
into. Yeah, I just figured we'll talk about football later on
Mhm.
because there wasn't much
Mhm.
to talk about. Homecoming was beautiful. Obviously, I said we were at the uh, scrimmage
Open scrimmage.
for the
Mhm.
open scrimmage for basketball, and I went to the football game afterwards. It was a beautiful day for football. Lots of
It
people
was
there, but the team put up a
just
stinker.
not.
There's not much.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
not the outcome we hoped for, though.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. The
Mhm.
defense
For
played
sure.
great, gave us
Mhm.
opportunities.
They did.
Offensive play calling just
Offense just
wasn't there.
sputtered. Yep.
Yeah, there wasn't any momentum at all.
Mhm.
Any momentum, or not Wofford, but Mercer gave us. We squandered it, and the second half was a mess.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know what else there is to say. Well, we lost Tyler Riddell for a few weeks too,
Yeah,
so we were
that
we
didn't
were
help.
dealing with. Yeah, it really didn't help because we were having QB issues the whole game, and we couldn't, we just couldn't keep any offensive momentum at all.
Mhm.
With the changing QBs.
Yep.
Uh, did I know? Oh, Dorsey played.
Yeah.
Did
Dorsey
they
played
did
some.
did they put in Riddell in that game? Because left after first half,
Tyler
I think.
or William Riddle.
William Riddle,
Riddle. I
or did
think
they?
they did. I think they did play him for like not many snaps though. I think.
Yeah, because
Let
they
me
benched
look.
Dorsey.
I'm gonna look real quick, or if you want to look too.
Yeah, they played Riddle for. He
They
got
play Riddle.
five
Oh,
passing
okay.
attempts and a
Yeah.
rush, but I think it was a sack because I have the stats pulled up from
Mhm.
the Mercer game and
Mercer
this
game.
week's game, which we'll get into in
Okay.
a minute. But um, yeah, um, there's not much to talk about. Run game didn't get going really. Passing game didn't get going.
Mhm.
Um, and so, I mean, that's all there is to really say. Just a disappointing game all around. Would have been nice to
Mhm.
win on homecoming, but
Yeah,
that's just about how this season's gone for the
that's
Bucks
true. It's
so
true.
far. Now this weekend, it was a much better result against
Mhm.
Wofford.
For sure.
Uh,
Yep.
the Bucks, I didn't see this coming. I thought it was going to be an offensive slugfest,
Yeah.
to be honest, and um, just
Very
just
surprising.
yeah. Well, I
Honestly.
knew Wofford wasn't that good, but I didn't
Yeah.
expect us to put up 40,
41.
41 points.
Yeah.
Um,
That
that's
was pretty
that's
impressive.
uh, it's crazy to think about. Like our offensive points for and points against. It's probably not that
Mhm.
different now with two
Mhm.
blowouts.
Yeah.
With the blowout against Carson Newman, against
And the
Wofford, that
blowout in Wofford.
kind
Yeah.
of balances out the losses
Mhm.
against Jacksonville State and uh, yeah, Austin P.
Austin P.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Austin P.
Mhm.
Um,
The
but
Sanford game was only like what 2 touchdowns, I
yeah,
think.
it was
Yeah.
close till the end,
Mhm.
right at the very end. We gave
Yep.
up a couple late touchdowns.
Couple late scores. Yep.
Uh, just this, it was just a beat down of Wofford. I think
It was.
honestly, Wofford looked like a D2 team. I don't
They
know what's
did.
happened to them. I know
Mhm.
they've had scholarship issues, I think,
Really?
or
Um.
something, or they eliminated they didn't have like an actual O line coach for under Josh Conklin. There's something
Wow.
crazy going on. Obviously, they have a first year coach too, but
So Citadel.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
They're both.
yeah.
They're both winless. I
Mhm.
think.
So maybe we'll get a win over the Citadel too.
Citadel too. I hope so.
I hope so as
Take
well.
any wins we can at this point.
Yeah, yeah. It it's just been looking rough out there. We'll
Mhm.
see how that goes.
Yeah.
I just wanted to uh, talk about uh, our QB situation
Mhm.
this weekend. Just since we've been so injured with Riddell and uh,
Dorsey.
what's it?
Dorsey. I think. Is it Dorsey?
Yeah, Dorsey got hurt, and
Yeah.
then
Yeah. Dorsey.
uh, oh the
Oh,
back
Baron
Eastern
May.
Michigan Baron
Baron
May.
May.
Yeah, there we
Yep.
go.
Yep. Yep.
Blanked on his name for a minute,
Mhm.
but
I almost
just like
forgot about him.
all those injuries, they've stacked up.
Uh,
So we're
Down to
starting,
walk-ons.
yeah, starting two walk-ons. I mean,
Yep.
hey, walk-ons at this level, you never know what a
Never know.
walk-on can be. And
It's true.
I think they played better than some of our backups, to be
Mhm.
completely honest. William Riddle balled out. Um,
He did. He
he
played
had
really
some
good.
great passes from
Mhm.
Chattanooga. I thought he was on scholarship for a minute, but he's a walk on. So,
Mhm.
and then he had Haynes Eller, of course.
Hangover.
Yeah, he played all right. He started the
Yeah.
game. Um, so we'll see what happens this weekend. But William Riddle, all I can say is he balled out this weekend.
I want to say Riddle will probably get the nod for
Yeah,
this coming
yeah,
game. I'd
yeah.
say.
Because what he did, he was getting the ball to uh, Will Huzzy and our
Mhm.
other receivers. Um, and I just think he has a better command of the offense than Eller
I do.
right
I
now.
agree. I agree.
And
I liked. I liked when he played Borish down at the goal line too.
yeah,
He made some
saw
nice
where he,
reads.
especially in that touchdown play, especially.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, I wasn't watching the second half as much. I watched a little bit of the first half. I had to go into work.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
around the time the second half started, but
Mm-hmm.
it was just at halftime the game was pretty much over.
I know.
Um,
It's wild. It was
yeah,
like what 20-0 at halftime. I think
something like that. Let me look at it.
something like that. I think
It was 27-0.
27-0.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
and we
We had them
only.
shut out till like late third quarter.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah,
Um, uh, just talking about the defense. The
that
defense was
defense is great too.
outstanding,
They were great.
outstanding once again.
That
It seemed,
Sheldon Arnold pick
yeah,
six. That was a tone setter.
he
That
he's
really
been
set the tone for the game.
he's been balling out this year.
He
I've seen
has.
his name multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
Last year he balled out as well, but it
Yep.
just goes to show you Billy Taylor has his offense ready, or not offense, but
Defense.
defense.
Yeah.
Has his defense ready every single
Uh-huh.
week, no matter
He
who we
does.
play. Even if we're outmatched, you're gonna
Mm-hmm.
get some. You're gonna get some toughness from the defense. You know,
That's for sure.
making plays. You know, and
Mm-hmm.
I think he's just a great defensive mind. Um,
I agree. He against Sanford, he had like what 2 interceptions and a fumble recovery, I think.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
that was
uh,
impressive.
he's got to be the player of the week. Yeah, you know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
uh, just with how he balled out, that pick six to set the tone for the game.
For
That set
sure.
it. You know, that's how the game was going to go from that point on.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. This game, the game this weekend might have had the least amount of fans in a
Fans
game
there,
this year
but
because
they performed the best.
yeah,
It's weird.
because it was fall. It's fall break for you right now, so
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I forgot to
all
mention
the
the
students,
intro.
you
I'm a
know,
student right now too.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Um,
yeah.
I forgot to mention that as well, you know,
Mm-hmm.
because he's still, you know, Casey's still a student, so we get
Yeah.
an interesting
I,
perspective from,
yeah. I've changed majors a few times. I actually
yeah.
started 2019, I think. So yeah. So I'm a fifth year technically, I think.
See, that's how I was. I changed
Yeah.
major once I got to ETSU in the middle of COVID, and so
Mm-hmm.
was at ETSU an extra semester, so I was
Yeah.
fifth year guy. If I had played sports, I could have grad transferred somewhere.
Yeah.
If I had that, I probably would have redshirted.
Yeah.
But
Extra year. Your eligibility.
extra year. Uh,
Yeah.
but just an outstanding performance from the team this weekend
Mm-hmm.
against
Sure.
Wofford. And another one I wanted to mention was Bryson Irby. I know
Oh yeah.
his
Yeah,
dad.
he
I
had a
think his
touchdown.
dad watches the podcast. Bryson
Really?
might too. I because
Cool.
Bryson or Bryson's dad likes all the tweets of the podcast when I make announcements. So
Neat.
I always
That's
got to give
awesome.
the shout out to him.
Yeah.
He's been balling out this year.
Yeah.
He's
Shout
the
out Bryson
he's
Irby.
him and Zach Borish are next in that line of Quay Holmes and
Mm-hmm.
Jacob Sailors that I was
For
talking
sure.
about.
That's a good comparison. If Borish could get more snaps,
Mhm.
I think that could be very realistic.
You
Because
know,
Irby's been rushing great.
just swapping them in. Splitting their
Mm-hmm.
snaps 50-50. You
Yep.
know,
Sure.
because Borish had some great. All those Idaho highlights.
Idaho. Yep.
You know, I looked up like records on their thing, and his name popped up like 3 or 4 times for like
Wow.
certain records. I think
Records. Wow. That's
they
impressive.
had on their website because right now I'm on when I'm NCAA dynasties or Road to Glories. I'm playing at Idaho, so I was looking up like
Okay.
passing records for
Records.
Idaho, and Zach Borish's name popped up on there.
Really? Wow. That's
Yeah,
neat.
so uh, but it's just crazy that we need to use him more. Like
We do. I
there
agree.
there
Um,
there needs to be more of a usage for him, because that's what he was
hmm
recruited to come here for.
Yeah.
Just like using him as a wildcat
Wildcat.
back
Wildcat
like we
QB
did
role.
in the
Yeah.
goal line.
hmm
If we need a trick
Need
play
that more often.
to throw down the field, Sort of like Derrick Henry in the NFL. Use him like that, you know.
I remember the year Kentucky, they used Lynn Bowden, I think was his name, at Kentucky. He was a good Wildcat QB. So
Yeah,
I think they should use him more often like that, Zach Borish.
because with Lynn Bowden, he got drafted to the NFL because of his passing ability. You know, that's what got him to be. Was he a first round pick or was he a third round pick? I forget.
Look that up. Hold on.
I know he didn't. He hasn't done much in the NFL, but
Yeah.
he he was drafted fairly high for
Mm-hmm.
someone with that role.
Let's see. He was picked third round. Yep, third round.
Yeah, third round.
Says he's on the Saints right now. But I don't think he's like
Yeah, he's
big
not
start
doing
or
much.
anything, but I think he's probably on their bench or something. But anyway, yeah. Anyway,
maybe Borish can make it to the NFL. We'll see.
that'd be awesome.
Get in a camp and get picked up somehow.
Uh-huh.
Let's see. Is that all I wanted to say? No, we'll go. Another thing I wanted to mention. Another player I wanted to mention. Will Huzzy.
Huzzy. Yeah.
I saw. He had the big old touchdown catch, and he led the team with 93 receiving yards.
Just doing what he does. I got a Will Huzzy T-shirt sitting over here in my bedroom.
Is it the NIL T-shirt?
Not the most recent one
Not
that
the
he has, but I think it was the one from last season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I know he came out with a couple different
He came
ones.
out with a new one. That new one looks pretty neat. That's pretty cool.
It does. Kind of reminds me of a Purdue NIL T-shirt I got for Devin Mockabee.
Cool.
Sort of like the player in different actions on the front and like different stuff on the front. But,
yeah.
No, I was going to mention he is very, very close. He will break the all-time receiving record for ETSU. And that's crazy to think about, just like the amount of talent we've had at ETSU these past few years. We had Quayle Holmes break the all-time rushing record, and now we're going to have Will Huzzy break the all-time receiving yards.
Yep.
So he could have gone to a lot of other places, but he stayed here, and now he's gonna have the record for ETSU receiving.
Yeah.
So like
shout out him.
Yeah.
Shout out him for sticking it out. That was because I know he like did he enter the portal and then come back? I think
he did. There's quite a few players that did that. Probably just trying to get NIL money. I don't blame him. I don't blame him. Because that's what Elijah Huzzy, he's going to end up being an NFL draft pick going to North Carolina.
He's coming at UNC. Yeah.
I claim all the people that have transferred. You know, if they've played a significant amount of time at ETSU, they're a Buck forever, you know. And they're more than welcome to, you know, come back. Come back. Come be on this podcast, please. Please come be on this podcast. But you know, once you're a Buck for life, and that's what you know. I kind of got into that with Brooks Savage, talking about just like our fan base, and it draws people in, draws players in, and their families because we accept them, you know.
Accept them like
bring
brothers,
them in,
for sure.
You know, we're not like a. It's more of a family like environment rather than like
bigger schools.
At bigger schools, a lot of times players get left in the shuffle, you know, and their families, you know, don't get treated right. I think ETSU does a pretty good job at it. I may be wrong, but I think we do a pretty good. I don't want to boast. I think they do a good job. job at it, having a good environment. But
welcoming environment for sure.
Yeah. But I think that's all I wanted to mention as far as standout players for this weekend, unless you had anybody else.
Not really. Trying to think. There was a few sacks in the game. I'm trying to think of who got sacks.
I know I forget our defensive linemen sometimes because we've had so many different ones.
Mm-hmm.
It's been kind of changing here the last few years with the portal and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a couple impact ones on there.
Yeah.
Let's see. They don't have the tackle numbers on ESPN. They just have the interceptions and fumbles and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that just goes in with our defense. But I just wanted to preview this weekend's game against Chattanooga, and sort of talk about the rest of the SoCon.
Mm-hmm.
Chattanooga is going to be a tough game this weekend.
I agree.
Because Chattanooga's in that top 3 with Western
Furman
Carolina and
Western
Furman.
Carolina.
Yeah.
Yep.
They just had a shootout with Western Carolina, probably one of the greatest SoCon games ever. It's probably up there, up there with Mercer and ETSU and some of the Marshall and App State teams in the 90s and 2000s. And, those type of teams, I think Chattanooga is definitely a playoff team. Just a little bit of, since they're our main rival, since it's rivalry week, their quarterback, they beat us out for him. He canceled his visit
ETSU. Yeah.
and committed to Chattanooga. Chase Artipis. I think I got that right. Someone said I didn't get it
Artopius,
right.
Artopus, something like that.
Yeah, I
think it's
Artopius,
Artopius, maybe. Yeah.
Is it Greek?
Probably.
But hopefully we sack him like Terry Bradshaw back there, make him look like a freshman.
I really want our defense to come in there with a chip on their shoulder.
They have something to prove.
Feeling like that guy should have came here and he missed out.
Yeah, he could have helped turn the offense around.
Yeah, we could have used him now with all of our quarterback problems.
But I think that's all we can say. Do you have a score prediction for Chattanooga versus ETSU?
My heart says ETSU, but my brain says Chat.
Yeah, that's how.
I really want us to come in there and play spoiler, though. I really do. Mm-hmm. We need to get that rail back.
That's what I want.
Because we're definitely the spoiler team coming in here with them ranked. How good is Chat's offense, would you say?
How good?
They score a lot. I'm not sure if they score a lot or not.
They score a decent amount, so I'd say like upper 20s, low 30s. If they win, it's going to be upper 20s, low 30s. I think. With how our defense has been, as long as we don't like blow up like we did against Austin Peay and Jacksonville State.
So we've been playing better lately, so I'm going to go probably a field goal or touchdown game.
Yeah.
I don't know who's going to win, though. I really don't.
Yeah. My final score, I'd say like 27 to 21, or 28 to 21.
Okay.
I'm probably leaning Chat. I know this is an ETSU podcast, but you have to be realistic with it.
Right now, they are a better team. I'm not going to deny that. They're ranked and everything, but I just really want to go in there and then spoil their season. That'd be great.
I think it's gonna be close, to be completely honest.
Mm-hmm.
Just because the defense is gonna be fired up. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know about our offense. I don't know how Chat's rush defense is, but if we can't get the rush game going, it'll probably be less
That's true.
than what I said. If we get the run
Mm-hmm.
game going, I'm going to go 28-21. Final score either way. So, or 28-20, either 28-21 or 28-24, whichever. But I think that's. Do you have a final score, or is that about what you'd say?
Yeah, that's about what I'd say. Maybe
Mm.
24-21, something like
Yeah,
that.
something like that, in that 20s range.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see it being a shootout, and I also don't see it being low scoring,
Mm-hmm.
somewhere in the middle range.
Yeah.
But I think that's about all that's going to happen. Do you have any thoughts on ETSU football for the rest of the season?
Well,
Uh, yeah,
Furman and Western, I think we're just gonna have to hope and pray on those. I
yeah,
hope we can,
yeah. Those
maybe we
two,
can spoil them, because those two guys look like they're gonna be doing it out for the SoCon title. I think,
that
but
which is
I
this
think.
weekend too.
Oh, really? It is
Yeah,
Furman and
that's.
Western.
Or is it this weekend
Wow.
or next weekend? I think it's this weekend.
Let me
I
look real
think.
quick.
Mercer.
Schedule. Yeah, it's this weekend. This coming
Okay,
weekend.
that's for the title,
That
pretty
that
much.
is potentially for the title. Yep.
Um,
Um, but
so
for
that's a
like the VMI and Citadel games, I think we could definitely win those.
we need to win those games because just
Especially
for
being at home.
confidence for the players.
Hmm.
We'll see how the season unfolds with coach and
Hmm.
staff, and there's
Hmm.
rumors out there that there might be coaching changes, but we'll see how the season finish out.
Hmm.
Um, just uh, hope and pray we beat VMI and or we already beat Wofford,
Citadel.
VMI and Citadel,
Yeah.
because those two teams they don't have the same talent level as ETSU. So
Hmm.
at this point, you know, and I think that's all we can hope for. Um,
Hmm.
is to finish out strong, maybe get upset against Chat. Other than that, I don't see us beating Western or Furman, like you
Yeah.
said.
Hmm.
Um, but I think that about covers football for
Football.
this week. Yeah.
All right.
Uh, Before we get into our next segment, I just wanted to do a trivia question. Um,
Okay.
and I'm going to throw one at you. You probably know the answer already,
Yeah, I do.
but uh, uh, which FBS teams or which FBS team
Teams. Well, yeah, you could say teams.
has which FBS team has ETSU beaten?
Yeah.
Is it
Well,
A,
I'm gonna.
NC State, B,
Okay.
Vanderbilt, C, Wake Forest, or D, Virginia Tech?
Well, most recently it was Vanderbilt, but we also beat NC State in 1980, so you could technically say A and B,
Yeah,
but yeah.
that's what I was gonna say. I kind of made it a trick
Mhm.
question this week.
Mhm.
I thought about going really deep into the annals of ETSU history and asking one related to Elizabethton, but I didn't
Yeah.
have time. I couldn't find anyone. So I just went with this one just to see if I could trick some viewers out there.
Tricky. Yeah.
Um, but as far as I know, we've never beat Wake Forest or Virginia Tech. Um,
Mm-mm.
so uh,
I think we beat Wake in basketball though. I think
yeah, I
we
think we
beat
beat
them in
them
the
in
'90s or
basketball.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I kind of threw trick questions in there. I put Wake Forest in there because that's where Forbes went, and I
Mhm.
put D Virginia Tech because I just went to Virginia Tech. I was like, and maybe it could have happened way back when.
Yeah.
Trick some people that aren't as big on ETSU sports as us to figure it out. But now we're going to transition into the basketball team, just to talk
Okay.
about sort of this year and talk about what our schedule predictions would be and what's coming up with the team.
All
First thing I wanted to talk, we can't really talk about it, but I forgot to mention last week with the secret scrimmage. It was against
right. Mm-hmm.
Middle Tennessee State. It took place in Knoxville. I'm not sure where in Knoxville. It was a secret location. It was kind of hush hush, other than uh, Brooks telling us the fans
Mm-hmm.
um, to expect, what to expect. Uh, just like we didn't haven't gotten a report on it. I think we may have lost based
Yeah.
on rumors I've heard.
Yeah, there's been rumors, but I know Coach Savage has a real high standard and everything with how
Yeah,
the programs are on. So they may have played actually really bad, or he may just be saying that they didn't play hard enough or something. Now he wanted. So.
yeah. I know when he came on last week, he talked about uh, the open scrimmage on homecoming. He said, yeah, it was just okay. And I mean, that's a perfect coach answer,
Mm-hmm.
because as a coach, you're never you're a perfectionist. You got to be focused on getting your team right before the season, getting working out kinks, working out team chemistry issues. And it's probably the same case against Middle Tennessee State, who has I think they're an all right team.
I think they are. Um, Last season, I want to say they won 20 games.
I know their coach is the old UNC Asheville coach, uh, Nick Nick McDivitt, yeah, who led UNC Asheville to a bunch of
Tournaments.
NCAA tournament,
Mm-hmm.
tournament appearances. So they're a good mid major to compare
Yeah.
yourself up against.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they won
I
19
know.
games last season,
Mhm.
so
So
pretty good.
uh, any that's good competition to prepare us for the SoCon. I know I mentioned when I sat down with Coach Savage last week, just that the schedule had a lot of good mid majors, and I think you
Mm-hmm.
can agree that's
I
going to
agree.
help prepare us for the SoCon
SoCon.
play, and just make us tougher as a team. Um, so uh, I think we've said all we can say about the scrimmage. I know last year we played East Carolina. I hope it went better than last year. I think we lost
Yeah,
last year.
we probably
I think
did. I'd say we
we
did.
probably did that. The last couple years of ETSU basketball have been disappointing. That's all we can
They
say.
have. Uh-huh.
Um,
I
so
think I think Brooks will get it rolling again. I have firm belief in that. I really do.
just
You
based
can
on what
tell he cares.
his the way he interacts, the way he has drawn in players uh, through the
Mm-hmm.
portal, it's like Forbes light. He's just getting started. So
Mm-hmm.
I think I think he has a lot of energy, a lot of just maturity for his age too as a
Mm-hmm.
coach.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's only
A lot
like
of time,
what 30 something,
yeah, he's like
37, I think.
37, 38.
Yeah.
Um, he kind of reminds me of Brad Stevens a little bit.
Yeah, I can
There's
see that.
something there's something there. There's something there. I think.
Uh-huh.
I'm not saying he is Brad Stevens. I'm saying
Yeah,
he reminds me of him.
comparable. Yeah.
Just the way he interacts and talks to fans and the media. He just seems like a humble guy.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Um, but next topic, I just wanted to ask you what your thoughts on the team were, and just like sort of where we're gonna finish in the SoCon, uh,
Okay.
and what some of your players to watch are. I know one of them. We kind of saw him at the scrimmage, and I forgot to mention him last week. But
Yeah.
uh,
Okay. That scrimmage, I thought it went pretty well, but
mhm,
I know Brooks didn't think it did. But
yeah,
I thought they looked. fantastic. I thought they looked better than they did last season at
Mm-hmm.
this point in the season. I really like Jaden Parker. I've been watching his highlights lately at North Florida.
Mm-hmm.
He's a really good like rim protector. Um, I don't think he was near the top in North Florida's shot blocking uh, records and stats. And Makai Johnson and Gabe Sisk, those guys are going to be real good freshmen for us. Gabe was actually listed as a 4-star on ESPN, and trying to think who else would be really good. I like DJ a lot too. I think
Yeah.
he'll give us some good size down low.
Mm-hmm.
Um, anything you want to add? Or,
I was gonna say I forgot to mention Gabe Sisk Last week
mm-hmm,
as one of the
yeah,
shooters. Him and
yeah,
him and
Gabe played really well.
coach mentioned him, but I just he balled out in the scrimmage.
Yeah,
Him and Maki Johnson. We were talking about those 4-year players. Those guys are the prototypical 4-year ETSU player
mm-hmm.
that comes in. They're recruited pretty well, but they just are underlooked.
Fell through the cracks. Yeah,
Yeah, fell
they
through the
fell through the
cracks, and
cracks.
and that's what ETSU's built on. Like players that fell through the cracks, but turn out to be superstars. Look,
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Jennings, AJ Merriweather, Damari Monsanto. He would have been a great
Monsetto.
4-year player if Forbes and Shea were worked out.
Yeah,
But
he's killing it at Wake now.
yep, I think he's going to be a pro player. He's going to be a pro
I
player.
do. I do too.
Um, and just like Courtney Pegram, others, there's countless others that we
Mm-hmm.
can mention. Those are just some of the ones that came to my head. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I know you talked about DJ Hughes. He'll be good. He got hurt
Mm-hmm.
in the scrimmage. He
He
rolled his
did.
ankle.
Yep. Yep.
Hopefully that's not a
Hopefully that
recurrent
wasn't
issue.
nothing. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hopefully he stays healthy. Um,
Mm-hmm.
just I think you covered. Oh yeah, Jaden Parker. I've been excited about him since the moment he committed.
Mm-hmm. Same.
Uh,
He committed
he
us
gives us
over
that.
Iona and UNC Wilmington. That was
I know that's
pretty good. Those
he
were
has
two pretty
he
good
has
mid majors.
he has size. He had size already, but coach says he's put on weight since he's got to ETSU. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
him
I
and
noticed
Jaden
that.
him and
He's
Jaden
gotten big.
Seymour. I think those guys might be all SoCon.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Parker might be all defensive
He could be all
SoCon, but
defense. Yeah.
yeah, all defense. I don't know about his scoring yet, um,
Mm-hmm.
but his shot blocking and rebounding, he's going to be that rim protector we need that we've missed. And I mentioned
Mm-hmm.
that with Coach uh, last week. So I
The
think,
way the way Parker looked in that offense they run, I think he'll
mm,
work real well in that
yeah,
offense with the pick and rolls and everything. And he looked good in transition
mm,
too. He got a steal, I think, with his length. That was really
mm,
impressive too. So
yeah, that's like I said, this toughness and length of this team. That's going to be what's impressive on the defensive end.
mm-hmm.
Uh, I'll tell you right now. Oh yeah, we have another one that might be all defensive SoCon. Ebby, Ebby
Oh yeah,
Ansel.
Ebby.
Eh,
Yeah, I like Ebby a lot.
He's good. The transfer from Delaware. I think he's gonna be tough.
Mm-hmm.
Tough to guard. Tough to play against. Go against for 40 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's gonna stay on the court probably the
Oh
longest
yeah,
of
for
anybody.
sure.
I think
He should be
because
one of the leaders of the team. I think.
he's a 5th year guy, so I
Mm-hmm.
think he's gonna have just a great impact on the team. At least from my perspective. But
Mm-hmm.
um, I think that's about everybody I wanted to talk about for now. There's so many people we could
Yeah,
talk
a lot of
about
new
because
players. A lot of new players.
new faces, new players. Of course, you got the 3 returners: Justice Smith,
Mm-hmm.
Braden, and
Parker, Braden, and not Parker. Seymour, Jane Seymour.
Seymour, and
Alan
Alan
Struthers.
Struthers. Alan
Yeah.
Struthers.
Hmm.
There's so many
Yeah.
names to keep track of him.
Hmm.
I don't have the roster pulled up, so
Yeah.
I know you probably do, but I don't at
Yeah.
the moment. So I'm going off of memory. But
Uh-huh.
um, I think one last thing I wanted to talk about with basketball, just what are some of your schedule predictions? Like, what are going to be some of your favorite games you want to get to?
Hmm.
Uh,
That Davidson game at Freedom Hall.
that's I was
That
mentioning.
is a big game. We haven't had an opponent that good in a while come to Freedom Hall.
Yeah.
Really. My cousin Eli, shout out to him. I think he'll be watching this episode. He's planning on coming to that Davidson game too. So that should be a big game.
I'm gonna try to get. I'm gonna try to invite as many people as I know to get that place filled up.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know which night it's on, but whatever night it is, I'm gonna go. I'm
Yeah.
gonna
It's
cancel
a Friday
everything and
night.
go. Friday
Says
night,
Friday
okay.
night. Yeah.
That might get more people coming to the game.
Uh huh.
Is there? It's beginning of December, I think.
Middle November,
Middle
17th. Yep.
17th. Okay,
Yep.
17th of November. Well, we'll
Yep.
go.
After the Butler
Um,
game,
yeah,
which is another big one.
that one. Butler. To be honest, we might catch Butler sleeping. Butler isn't very good at the moment.
Yeah, they
And
fell a little bit.
we have a
Because
lot of.
their coach is Thad Matta, right?
Yeah, it's Todd Mata. He's in his
Yeah.
second year.
Yeah.
So
Old Ohio
they've kind
State
of
coach.
they're kind of in rebuild mode right now.
Mhm.
Especially with them being in the Big East, it takes a while to
Mhm.
turn it around. I mean, Thad Matta is a great coach, but I don't think he's at his prime anymore. He's
Mhm.
just
Yeah,
kind
I'm
of in
kind
that
of past that now.
stage of his career where he's a veteran coach, just trying to get the team he's coaching to the tournament.
Mhm.
Um, but there might be some personal uh, attachment to that since Chris Arkenberg
But
is
yeah,
from Indiana,
Indy. Yep.
and we have three
Couple
players from
players from
Indiana.
Indy. Or well, yeah, three from Indiana.
Three
Yeah.
because we just added David Merriweather,
Mhm.
and uh, so that's I
Yeah.
think our non-conference schedule. I think it's great this year, uh, comparatively
If
to years past,
mhm.
and
If we can take one of those, the Utah State, ECU, or Butler games, I think that'll get the fans really excited.
yeah, because
Those
those are
games
all
are big.
Butler's our only high major this year, so
Mhm.
uh, I wonder if we could get them to come back to Freedom Hall somehow. I
I
know
wish.
that's probably yeah,
That'd be awesome.
uh, but I think that's about all I have for basketball. Um,
Okay.
unless you have anything else you want to say as far as the
Um,
schedule or bring up.
I think a lot of these games are winnable. I think Savage wanted good opponents, but at the same time, games we could win.
Hmm.
But like a lot of these teams are winnable. I really think we should at least be a 5 seed or higher this year.
Hmm.
We're definitely not gonna be playing Friday. I really don't want us
Yeah,
to play Friday. I don't think we will, but
yeah. I think we're
in
going to be
Asheville.
middle of the road in the conference, fourth or fifth, maybe higher, just depending
Yeah.
on how some of the
Yeah.
50-50 games go. I know early on it's going to look a little rough, but it just depends on how we gel. I know we
Mhm.
always have, especially with it being a new team, we always have those games early in the season where like, how did we lose that? Why did we
Mhm.
lose that? Even in
Mhm.
Forbes era, I know,
It's
uh,
true.
like his first or second year, we got blown out by UNC Wilmington at home,
Mhm. Yeah,
and
that was weird.
there's one we
I
got
remember
blown
that
out by
one.
Northern Kentucky. Yeah,
Mhm.
I think you might remember that too.
Even that 30-win season, we got beat by
Yeah,
what, North Dakota State and Fargo.
yeah.
That was
I mean that. Well, I mean that's just an intimidating flight.
yeah.
I bet. in North Dakota State fan base, they're sort of like ETSU, you
Mm-hmm.
know,
Mm-hmm.
very passionate, very very passionate. Even I know they're not a basketball school really, but
Yeah.
they're all
They're.
passionate up there.
Uh-huh.
Because what else do you have to do in North Dakota?
Other than sports, nothing really.
Yeah, uh, but um, yeah, I think we'll beat some teams we should or shouldn't, and we'll lose to teams we shouldn't.
Shouldn't. Yeah.
Uh,
We'll steal some, but lose to some team that
yeah, we'll
we're not
be
supposed to lose to.
we'll be a
Yeah.
close to 500 team, probably
Yeah.
slightly over. I
I think
think
that's realistic enough.
that's my realistic expectation for
Mm-hmm.
this team.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but uh, since you think the same, just before we end the episode, I wanted to quickly mention ETSU golf. Um, I know we neither of us probably know that much about college golf, but
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to give a shout out to them. They're number
Yeah.
8 in the country right now,
Uh-huh.
and ETSU's golf is always strong. We
Always.
have
Historically.
we have a bunch of pro golfers right now. You got
Mm-hmm.
uh, Seamus
Seamus
Power,
Power.
the guy from Poland. I forget his name. He was in the Masters.
Don't
He
remember.
Adam. I think his name's Adam. Let's see.
I know Rory McIlroy almost came to
Yeah, yeah,
ETSU.
Rory. That's the one of the
He
big
almost did.
folk folk tales of ETSU.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Rory almost came. Um, let's see. I'm gonna look up that golfer's name. ETSU golfers quickly.
Yeah.
Adrian Merock. Adrian Merock.
Oh yeah.
That's
Okay.
his name.
Yeah, I've heard that
He's
name.
from
I've heard
Poland.
that name.
He's from Poland. I just know he was in the Masters, so
Uh-huh.
I had to mention because I used to live near Augusta,
Near
Georgia.
Augusta.
Yeah, my dad used to live literally right beside the golf course.
Wow, that's neat.
So, but uh, give props to the golf team.
Hmm.
You know,
It's always
just
impressive what they do. Yeah,
so
on the national stage, like against Power Five colleges,
yeah.
it's pretty impressive.
Any Buck fan out there, just give them love, give them support. I know they're not college golf isn't a spectator sport, but uh, just give them props.
Support. Hmm.
And I just wanted to mention them tonight since they're number 8 in the nation, and one of our golfers won a tournament. I think I know uh, one of our fellow in one of the group chats we had, someone sent that we won a tournament.
Hmm.
But uh, I think that's all I have for that. Before we end the episode, I just wanted to give you a chance. If you wanted to plug anything, uh, any social media, any clubs you're a part of, anything you wanted to promote, it's your time.
Okay.
Um, if
You
there's,
guys can follow me on Twitter at Casey Wilkins. I think it has an underscore in it. I can't remember my tag. Hold
I'll,
on a minute.
I'm
Yeah, it has an
gonna.
underscore at the end.
Mhm,
And really excited about men's basketball. I hope everyone buys their season tickets and really
mhm.
fills it up in Freedom Hall again. It's gonna be exciting.
No, I was gonna ask you, are you still a part of Buck Wild? Is
Yeah,
that still a
I am.
thing?
Uh huh.
The
That's
club
still a thing.
Buck Wild. That's the student. That's sort of the student body club to
Section.
get people to athletic events, and
Mm-hmm.
not just football and basketball, but every sporting event.
Mm-hmm.
So shout out to Buck Wild.
Shout out Buck Wild.
Uh, and I just wanted to say before we go, if anyone has any suggestions or wants to come on the podcast, any athletes, coaches, community members, just give me a shout on Twitter. Uh, Probably Twitter or Instagram's the best place if you don't know me personally. If you know me personally, you can text me, do whatever, Snapchat, whatever. But even leave a comment on YouTube. Uh, but I think that's about all I have for tonight. Um,
Right.
and oh yeah, I also wanted to mention I have some interesting opportunities coming up for this podcast. Interesting partnerships I might be getting into. Um, and that's also a signal to if anyone wants to sponsor the podcast, please do, so I can upgrade my equipment. Um, Anybody that just wants to throw a few dollars my way, just let me know. I'll get stuff set up. I may get I don't know which is the best. We'll figure all that out later, but what's the best funding site for something like this? Um, but I think that's all I wanted to say. Uh, but as I close this podcast, I just wanted to say I hope you all enjoyed the show tonight for my sit down with Casey. Um, and Godspeed and go Bucks.
Go
Hope you
Bucks.
all enjoy. Hope you all have a good night.
Yep. Appreciate it.
See y'all later.